Hey everyone, welcome back to KBS Technocrop Python tutorial day 11. Today we are going to explore unit testing in Python. I have divided these tutorials in four sections. In the first section, we are going to understand the fundamental of unit testing in Python. In this, we are going to understand unit testing in Python, types of testing, life cycle of unit tests, importance of unit tests, and what is the TDD. In the next section, we are going to understand overview of the unit test module in Python, that is introduction of unit test module, which we are going to use for writing the unit test, and then we are going to understand some terminology in the unit test like test cases, test suite, test fixes. In the section 3, we are going to understand how to do the environment setup using Visual Studio Code for Python testing. So we will be doing a environment setup using Visual Studio, and we are going to use unit test module for unit testing. In the next section, we are going to write a unit test, a very simple unit test, and we are going to execute that unit test using unit test module. In the next and final section, we are going to understand assertion in unit tests. In Python, there are multiple type of assertion. Then we are going to understand all those kind of assertion with example. Now we will understand the fundamental of unit tests in Python. Unit testing is a crucial part of software development that help ensure correctness, reliability, and maintainability of the code. In Python, unit testing is typically done using the built-in unit test module, which provides a framework for creating, mocking, and running the test cases. In this, we are going to explore basic of unit testing in Python, including what it is, why it's important, how we can get started with the unit test case. So, what is unit test case? Unit testing is a software testing technique that involve testing individual unit of a component of a program to ensure that they are working correctly. A unit is the smallest testable part of application, such as a function, method, class. By testing unit in isolation from the rest of the application, developer can catch a bug and fix bug earlier in the development process and ensure that the code is reliable and maintainable. Now we will discuss about the life cycle of unit testing. So unit testing life cycle is will start from the checkout. When a developer check out the repository or code, then he do some modification. When he do some modification, if the test cases are associated with that, then it will execute the unit test. And if the code modified recently is has some issue, then unit test case will get failed, and then developer will fix that issue, and then it will go for code review, and then it will be checked in into the repository. Again, the process when other developers comes or same developers comes, they will check out the code and do some modification and execute the test case. If it fails, then it's fixed. If not, then it will be checking the code. Now we will move into the importance of the unit testing. Unit test has four major advantages. One is early bug detection. For example, if you are writing a code and you are not doing the unit tests, when you are doing the integration test, end-to-end test, what will happen if there is any fault in your code in a particular unit, you will not able to catch it during the development phase. It will happen only the testing phase will happen, and the tester is testing your code from the end-to-end perspective, and it will be identified. So if you are having unit tests and you are having more coverage, you are able to test in individual component, you will have a very less chance to uh, have a bug in the system. That means you will be able to early detect your bug. Second is improved your quality. Unit tests help ensure the code reliable, maintainable, and meet the requirement for the application. For example, if you are writing a code which is testable, then it will be easily maintainable. Faster development cycle. By catching a fixing bug earlier in the development process, developer can avoid delay in the development cycle. For example, if in the last moment, if the testing team identify a defect and developer started fixing, it might take some time. So if a developer himself is writing the unit test, and he will be able to file the issues in the code or bug in the code in the development phase itself, he will be able to fix it. Better collaboration. Unit tests help improve collaboration between developer and tester, providing a common framework for testing and verifying the functionality of the code. Okay, so what is the types of testing? There are many type of testing. Few of them is like unit tests, what we are discussing, then integration test, system test, acceptance test, regression test, performance test, security test, usability test, and then many more. So we are not going to cover all this, but just for information, to understand how many types of testings are there. You can categorize basically manual testing, automation testing, then automation testing. You can categorize that unit tests, system testing, then acceptance test, end-to-end test, similar kind of. Then we will try to understand test-driven development. For test-driven development, I will try to create other tutorial, but in short, test-driven development, which is called as a TDD, is a software development approach that emphasizes on writing automation tests before writing the actual code. So first, what is the acceptance criteria for the particular module or unit. Then you will be writing the code for test case first, and then you will be actually implementing. So when you have a test case ready, and then when the developer start implementing that particular feature or particular functionality, then every time they can use that test case and run that and see that acceptance criteria is getting matched. That means whatever expected from a particular unit of code is working fine. Now we are going to understand how to do the environment setup for unit testing in Python. To do that, I hope you have a Visual Studio installed and also Python extension is installed in Visual Studio. If not, then please refer all these details are mentioned into the description box. There are multiple links are provided which will help you to do the environment setup. So first step, we are going to create a directory. So my directory name is unit test part 1, and then I'm going to open the directory into the Visual Studio. So I'm typing code unit test part 1, and then I'm going to create a environment. So when you create environment, when you select this environment, it will create a env folder. So I selected the Python create environment, and then I selected when Arconda. So I have selected when because I want to use this for creating environment, virtual environment. So I just selected when, and then I selected the Python version. If in your system there is only one version, then it will display only one. In my system, there are multiple versions. So I selected the Python version 3.10.10. Okay, once I select it, down it will display. We have selected the following environment and it will take few minutes to create it. So once we wait for a few minutes, then it will create a .venv folder here, and it contains this much information on files over there. So once you complete this, then you will be having the environment ready. Now we will try to see how to write a simple unit test case and how to run it. Now I'm going to create a Python file here. So I'm going to select this and trying to add a file. It's called test exercise. Let's say consider dot py. Let's save it, and then I'm going to create a add method, and going to write a multiple test cases for that. So in this code, I have imported, this is unit test, this is the module which we require to import it, and then what I have done it, I have created a add method. So this add method will take two parameter, and it will return the sum of those two values. And then I have created a test class here. I have given the test class name as a test add number. You can give any number, but make sure you are passing this as a parameter here called unit test dot test case. So that's how the system will identify this is the test case. And then inside this, what we are trying to do, that we are trying to test positive add, and then we this is the unit test method where we are trying to add 2 and 3 and trying to check this 2 and 3. When we add it, the expected result is 5. So in this, I will repeat once again. We have imported the unit test, and then we have created a method called add method where it's take two parameter a and b, and then this is the class. This is my test class which I'm having unit test dot test class as a parameter here, and then what I'm having it here is that I created one method called test add positive number, and then I am just trying to call that function here by passing 2 and 3, and then I'm adding the assert. So assert equal the result. What I'm trying to test it here is result is equal to 5. That means if I pass 2 and 3, I'm expecting the function to return me 5 when I pass 2 and 3. So in that case, when we pass 2 and 3, this function will return 5. Okay. And then let me comment this line of code, and then we will run only one method. So this simple, we are going to run it, and then this is how you can call your unit test for execution. So this is how we are going to call this unit test for running. So let me run this code. Okay, so when a test case is working fine, then there is no issue. So it runs and it shows me result that it's work fine. Let me consider if I'm passing, just to show you that when in case of error or the assert is not true, in that case what will happen. Let me write 6. Let's say consider I'm passing 2 and 3, and I'm expecting that it should give me 6. That case, since the 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, and uh, it will not be 5 is not equal to 6, then in that case I will get the error. So let me run this code and see that. So if you see here, the result is display run one test in this second and then failed. So where is a failed? If you scroll up little bit, it will say that assert 5 is not equal to 6, because 5 is not equal to 6, and that assert is getting failed and this test case is getting failed. Okay, let me add few more test cases. Yet, if we pass -2, -3, then in that case, the result we are trying to test it, test add with the negative number. So different scenario with the different parameters. What we are trying to do, we are trying to test this test method. So let me run this test case. Now we are having 3 test case, and all 3 are getting passed here. So if, let me clear it, if any of this test case is getting failed, let's say consider I will try to make the first test case as a failed. That means I will put 6 again, and we will see the result. So it will give you 2 test case pass, one is failed. So failure one, that is one test case is getting failed. So let me save it and run it once again. You will be able to see this test case is getting passed, fail, and other test cases. Run 3 test cases, one fails. This is where this one test case fails. And if I make it 5, it will work. So it's very simple. You import the unit test, create your function. This can be this can be in other class as well. That means you can create other Python file and you can add it, and then you can call this. So let me add it. Add numbers py, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that method from here, and so if I copy that method from here, I'll define here, and I will save this file, and again I will have to import that class. So, module import, and then add number. Then we have to call that function add number or add number, for example. So that's how it is. I will have only one method just to make sure that we are able to test it and it's readable. In that case, I'm just trying to remove these other methods. I deleted this and I have only one method. So in this, what I did it, added that method in the different Python file and then I imported that particular module and then I used it. So if I run it, it should give me the same result. So you see that add method is getting called from that particular function and it's working fine. Let me test it a negative scenario. I'll put a 6 and run it. I can I can see that 5 is not equal to 6 and test is failing. Okay, let me do Control Z and I will show that there is other way to run it. So if you have installed the test extension, then you will be able to see that you are able to run the test case using the test extension. So this is the test extension which is required. I will do that. Configure Python test and okay, I need to change the name of these files. So let me rename this to test. Okay, so I will put okay. Now we will see the test case. So if you see here, you will be able to see all your test cases here and you will be able to run it. So if I run this test case, you will be able to see that. So we have three test cases, one, two, and three. We are able to get this all three test cases. And if you want to run these test cases, you will be able to run it. If you want to run all the test cases in that particular class, you will be able to run it. So if I run this all, I'll be able to run it. Okay, let's say one test case, I just want to make it fail here. I just want to make it since once again and controls yes, save it. And then I will run this complete test case here. So if you see, there is one test case which is getting failed. That is test add positive number, which I have make it 6 because the result is coming 5, but we are making as a 6. So that's why this test case. So this will give you more uh, visibility when you use this test extension. You can install it from the Visual Studio, Visual source code here, and you can use it. So this is very good when you are going to develop it and you want to see the test case execution. In this way you can use it. Now we will try to quickly look on that how to know all these assertions. So I will create a files and there are multiple type of assertions are there. So we will have example of few of them and then we will try to understand. So I'll put assertion underscore examples dot py and I will put test assertion.py for time being. Okay, and then we will try to have the complete assertion. So assertions are basically, for example, you have, I will try to type some of them and try to explain it. So there are recently what we have used it are equal. So but in the system there are multiple type of assertions are there. That means unit test module contains lot of type of assertion. For example, assert equal, assert not equal, assert true, assert false, assert is. So we are going to discuss most of them one by one, uh, in very short, and then we will try to understand how it can be used. So let me try to type uh, example where we have all this used. So I have added the example here. I have imported the unit test. In this, we are not calling any external method. It's just we are trying to use assertion. So assert equal. As we have seen the previous example, whenever you want to check two values are equal, then you can define, you can use assert equal and then pass both the values. And then assert not equal, similar way, when you want to check that the result actual and expected are not equal, then you can use assert not equal. Assert true, when you want the expected value to be true, then you can use assert true. Then assert false, whenever you want to test that the result, that means the expected value is false, then in that case you can use assert false. Then assert is means when you are using assert is means you will be having a collection where you want to check that this this one collection is equal to other collection. For example, if x is having a list which contains 1 2 3 and y z is also containing 1 2 3, then you can test this way. Assertive is, it will check that particular value is available in that particular list. For example, apple is available in that particular list. Let's say consider you have a list of item where you want to check your result is containing a particular I string item or item in a list, then you can use a sort place, a sort instance. Then we can check that if this particular is value whatever you want, you got it, or result is having that particular type of instance. For example, 5 we are checking is it type of int or not. Similar way, when you uh, pass the first value as a string, we are checking that it's a not type of instant of int because it's a string. So we are checking not. Okay. Similar way, we have many more, and then we can check it assert greater equal, and then assert greater uh, greater equal. This basically we can check it either as greater or equal. So then assert less, then we can check it that this particular value is less than this value or not. Similar way, we can check a regular expression. For example, if you define a regular expression, if you have already attended that tutorial where I have explained about the regular expression, if not, then please go and have a look on that. This it will be easy for you to understand when you understand the regular expression. So you define a regular expression and then you pass a string, you check that that string is following that particular regular expression format or not. That similar way, this assert multi-line, when you are having a string where multi-line strings are there and you want to verify that string 1 is equal to string 2 or not. Similar way, you have a two list and you want to check it that one list basically is equal to other list or not. So you can apply a assert equal on the same data structure. For example, if you have a two list and you want to check that both are equal, you can apply it. For this scenario, you are having two lists which contains 1 2 3 1 2 3. When you apply assert list equal, then it will apply. Similar way on tuples as well, you can apply assert tuples equal, where it will verify the two tuples are equal or not. If it's equal, then it will pass, otherwise it will fail. Then similar way, not equal, you can apply it. So there are many more, so you can apply for dictionary also. So similar way, you can have a multiple, multiple assert in a particular test case based on your requirement, and you can do that. I hope I have covered most of the things. Thanks for watching, and please consider subscribe to my channel. It will help me to grow And if you like these contents, please do press the subscribe button and subscribe my channel. Thank you.